Before we begin this podcast, I'd like to take a moment to respect the late great Carl Weathers, who has recently passed away. Carl Weathers was a multi talented actor known for his iconic roles in films such as Rocky and the Star Wars franchise. He brought to life the character of Apollo Creed in the Rocky series, captivating audiences with his charisma and athleticism. His portrayal of the determined and charismatic boxer earned him immense praise and admiration. In the Star Wars universe, Carl Weathers portrayed the character Grief Karga in the series The Mandalorian. His portrayal of the cunning and resourceful leader of the Bounty Hunters Guild added depth and intrigue to the show, making him a fan favorite. Beyond his work in Rocky and Star Wars, Carl Weathers had an extensive career in both film and television. He showcased his versatility as an actor by taking on various roles across different genres. His talent and presence on screen were always a delight to watch, captivating audiences with his charisma and talent. He will be missed. Yesterday, February 2nd, Star Wars pretty much confirmed they're doing a comic book series for Ahsoka. I think they're doing it with Marvel, which is going to be really cool to see. I believe it's dropping this July, and it'll give us a great way to put the ending on Balin's skull, because what better way to go out like that? Now you don't need to get an actor, and now we can put more light into the story and even touch things up for when season 2 arrives. So I'm actually really excited about that. That's probably, I don't know, that's probably one of the more exciting things I'm looking forward to this summer. That's actually yeah, that's actually pretty cool. I'd like to know everybody's thoughts on that. And I'm really, really interested to see what happens with Baylor's skull. So, if anyone has been watching the page at all, they've noticed I started doing something called the Meet Your Zurich story, which is, for those who don't know, is the Jedi exile from Knights of the Old Republic 2, the Sith Lords. And basically what I was trying to do was I was trying to run a more canon version of the events. So what I've done is I really just started from the beginning and tried to work my way through. And what I wanted to do this time is I wanted to try to shave down time. So if somebody had not seen this game before, or just interested in the Star Wars storyline of what's happening, I kind of want to make sure I didn't lose them with all the running around. And I know that there's a lot of details that you can still cover by running around, looking at different things. But my idea for this edit was sort of just to get like the viewer captivated. I'm trying to just make it the best storyline so people can stay like, you get the full potential of the characters. I think it's just something, I don't know, I think it's really good. When I think about this game as a whole, Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2, if I'm doing something with them, I owe it, because I've been playing these games for years. Like I was a young kid in elementary school playing Knights of the Old Republic. I had my first ice. I remember when I had my first iced coffee from Dunkin' Donuts. I came home. I got it. Me and my mom. She went and got me an iced coffee. I went home. I went up to my room on the third floor and I started playing KOTOR. And I even remember where I was. I was in the last tomb, trying to find the Star Forge in Korriban. I had just finally gotten enough prestige to get to the Star Forge to earn Master Uthar's trust. So I did that. That's where I was. I remember, and I was on the left side trying to figure out the computer terminal. And back then, internet wasn't as accessible for a young kid as it is now, for example. So I wasn't able to really look up cheat codes and all that. The only time I was really able to, the way I found Knights of the Old Republic was from an old show on the I don't remember, G4. I think the station was called G4, or it was a video game channel, and the show was called X Play, and then there was another show called Cheat, and that's how I found out about these. And ever since then, I could never get enough of Knights of the Old Republic. I always thought it was a fascinating story. The fact that nobody decided to really build off of it. The only ones who have really touched up on that sort of lore has been Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. I mean, actually, not true. I've seen a little bit of it in Andor. The Ricotta necklace, I do remember that. So that is pretty cool, actually. There's a lot of old school Star Wars people out there, and I have so much respect for the old school ones, the ones who acknowledge 4, 5, and 6 as top dog, which I totally respect, because that's how I feel. Because they said, go, because they're like, when I was a kid, these are the Star Wars that came out. These are what I grew up on as a kid. So I always respect that. And like, they look at me kind of crazy when I say episode 2 is my favorite. But to be fair, that was the first one I went to see in the movie theaters as a kid. So I grew up as a kid in that Clone Wars era, and that was some of the craziest stuff. The original Clone Wars series, never forget that. Staying up a little later at night watching that, being like, oh my goodness. And then the new Clone Wars series came out and did an even greater job. So I'm always happy with that. I just, oh man, that brings me back. That brings me back. But yes, Knights of the Old Republic. It's definitely one of my favorite. I'm trying to push it a lot. Like I'm trying to put a lot of videos out there because I want people to see how great of a game it really is. And the storytelling is just it's on a whole nother level. But how about that Empire at War? That is just one of my favorite games of all time. And what I've been doing is I've been trying to give the best interpretation that that game deserves. So like when I try to put that game out there, I try to give it the best, like make it look the best, the way it deserves to be looked, as such a phenomenal, superior game, because that game is night and day above some of these other games that are out nowadays. When I do the Empire at War, I feel like I just want to give people the battle. So I don't necessarily want to put people through like the whole here's what we're going to set up, here's where we're going to attack here, we're going to get these resources. I kind of just want to give them the battle, so that way when they, you know, I want to give them the best impression of the game. What I want them to see is pure Star Wars chaos, and that's what I can try to bring to them. I think that people enjoy Empire at War because it's a game that really allows the person to really take control of the battle on a full larger scale. Like there's Battlefront, but then you got Empire at War that kind of just gives you an even broader area of control. And I think that, you know, it's just such a cool game. And my idea is to get people to look at that haven't played it before and are like, wow, what is this game? Where can I buy it? Because for me, if I can just hear a couple people say, oh, this game's pretty cool, I got to try it out. To me, my mission's complete. My mission's a success, because I just want to show people that these games that are, for lack of a better term, from the modern gamers' eyes, these are dead games. These are games that no longer receive updates. Besides the modders who do a huge job, modders keep this game alive, especially Empire at War, and I have to give them so much respect, because if it wasn't for these modders, we wouldn't have half the ability to do what we are able to do with Empire at War right now. And my hat goes off to all of them. And I'm gonna leave in the description. I'm gonna leave a link to a bunch of modders that you can access through Steam if that's how you play the game, if you get the game. And these are the ones you want to look for that are really going to make your experience 10 times better than just the regular game itself, which is already a huge experience. So I really hope that people decide to look at that game. I'll even leave a couple of links, and at the end of the video I'll have a couple of videos pop up so you can see what the Empire at War battles look like. If you're into Star Wars like that and you appreciate battles, and if you guys, even if you guys just want to see battles and just curious to see how they look, please just leave it in the comments. I'd be more than happy to make something like that. If I do it because I want to make people something they want to have fun watching. I want to do something that people can watch no matter where they are, whether you're sitting, you know, you're sitting waiting for a bus, or you're sitting waiting at the airport, or you're just sitting waiting for food, or you're just, you know, you're sitting waiting to pick somebody up from school, from work, wherever. I just want to help make something to help pass the time where people can forget about their daily activities for just a second and kind of escape. Star Wars is such a huge event. Like I remember the movies. All I know is every time you go to see Star Wars, it's an event. You're not thinking about work when you're seeing Star Wars. You're not. I mean, maybe you are, but I'm not thinking about work. I'm not thinking about anything except for Star Wars, because when you're there at that moment, it's just something different. And to be able to, you know, share that with people is just huge. And I know I'm not somebody who's I'm not a Star Wars employee or anything like that, but if I can help spread Star Wars to people that, you know, may really find some joy with it, so be it. Star Wars is a community for us all. Doesn't matter who you are. Star Wars will welcome everybody. But I think that right now, I think everything's falling where it needs to be. And I think it's a good place for Star Wars right now. I think it's a good time for Star Wars. I'm excited for the comic books coming out. I'm excited for Ahsoka season 2 coming out. I'm excited for the Bad Batch season coming out, the final season. Mandalorian's going to be great. I can't wait. This has been the Talk Around the Cantina podcast. I appreciate you if you stuck around this long. Once again, rest in peace to the late, great Carl Weathers. Absolute, absolute legend. This is our time, guys. I hope you all have a great day. And may the force be with you. And be safe.